Some more analysis going on the big cement deal. We have Anil Singhvi, someone who's been associated with the cement industry for many, many years. He's here. He's currently the chairman of Sri Digvijay Cement, but he's here to discuss about his company as well as about this big deal. Good morning, Mr. Singhvi. Thanks a lot for joining in. Well, who would have thought, right? All these years, people have been arguing that the asset is not up to mark. It's an aging asset. It'll require a lot of capex as well. And you have UltraTech here going ahead and paying top dollar, more than $105 per ton, either which ways you slice it. Your first take on this deal and how does it impact the industry?
I think I would start with saying that advantage Mr. Srinivasan, a huge advantage Mr. Srinivasan. He understands tennis very well, so I would use in that term. I think if you trace back when UltraTech acquired their grinding unit in Nashik, almost about, I think, 6 months or 1 year ago, I think there were indications, at least in my mind, that they were moving in the right direction. And of course, Mr. Radhakrishnan's Damani's holding was, I think, a clear path on that they will not stop at 23%. It's not an investment on the balance sheet, but they would acquire the complete asset as well. Now, for the top dollar price, I think Mr. Srinivasan should be thanking all the way to the bank, to Mr. Damani. Had Mr. Damani not entered into India Cement and having 23% position, I'm sure 390 rupees would not have been ever even dreamt by Mr. Srinivasan. I mean, howsoever critical that asset may be for any cement player, but 390 is a very, very high price for the share of India Cement, no doubt about it. So it's a huge advantage, Mr. Srinivasan, no doubt about it.
Mr. Singhvi, hi, morning, Prashant here. So, as an indication effect to smaller cement companies where there are potential, I mean, the market always sniffs out potential deals, future deals. Is this a re-rating event?
Well, I'd mentioned to you when Adani's bought Ambuja and ACC that I think Holcim was a very passive player in Indian market. So if you trace it back from 2006 to 2022, for 15, 16 years, not many cement deals happened of this nature, which we are seeing in the last 2 years. I think this whole process will get accelerated because industry is still very fragmented. So you may see deals happening one after the other, maybe just 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever is there in terms of what is available. And in some cases, what is even not available, like India Cement was not perceived until about a year back that it will be available because Srinivasan has been, I mean, he's a Bhishma Pitama of cement industry, I would call him. I mean, that's a very right word for Mr. Srinivasan. He's been there for almost about 60 odd years. So I think going forward, and particularly I'm very excited because Kesoram and India Cement, these are the two weakest cement plays in South India. And both have been acquired by UltraTech in the last 6-8 months' time. So I think industry is taking out the weaker players first. Like look at Sanghi Cement, look at Kesoram, look at India Cement. And that's a very positive sign for consolidation in industry. So one is not paying $150, $170, but one is paying $90 to $120 to consolidate the industry. Weaker players because they are weak in terms of both, in terms of efficiency plays and pricing. So I think both will benefit the acquirer and the industry.
All right. Yeah. And Mr. Srinivasan, one of the tough cookies, I've spoken to him over the last 10, 15 years or so. And amazing, in terms of those interactions. Let's get to a couple of details then. CCI, no problem for them, you think?
There could be some issue in CCI. It's not going to be so simple because having acquired Kesoram recently and again one more asset, there will be some challenge, but I think they'll overcome that. It's not, I don't see this as a deal breaker. It may take its own time, nuance, all that, but not a deal breaker.
Okay, all right. Before we wrap up, Mr. Singhvi, do you think that South India could be for a bit of pain, in the next 12 to around 18 months because of pricing? Longer term positive, but near term pain. And also, your company, Sri Digvijay Cement, is PE owned. What would you be happy with in terms of an offer, given that this entire re-rating has taken place? So, comment on both those two.
Yeah. So first and foremost, South India, I think what I've seen post Sanghi's acquisition by Adani, I think the similar kind of situation will pan out in South India, where capacity, because both Kesoram and India Cement have not been operating at the full capacities. So I think there will be a bit of a tug of war for getting the market share by Kesoram and by India Cement. So UltraTech will definitely try to push volumes. So this will put a lot of pressure on the South India, whereas South India prices have already been low. So I think the next at least 2 to 3 quarters, they may still see. And again, the monsoon in Tamil Nadu will be approaching in October, November. So by the time this deal gets done, there will definitely be a lot of pressure for UltraTech to push India Cement's new production in the market on that. Now, coming back to how industry's profile is going to be, as I mentioned to you, that standalone cement plays, if they're critical for, by Adani or by Ultratech, they will get acquired. Now, you asked about Digvijay. I can't comment on that because that's for the decision for the promoters. I know for sure that there will always be a consolidation move going forward in industry for next at least 2 to 3 years. Before they start organic growth, I think there will be a lot of plays which will come on stage, and let's see who is the best suitor for which bride.
Okay. All right, Mr. Singhvi, always nice speaking to you. Thank you so much for joining us and, telling us a little bit more about this deal, about the industry. We learn a lot from you every time. But let's